Hello, good evening. Thank you for coming back to Lessons for Life. How many have we done in a row now?
I can't remember. I can't count.
We've lost track of everything from what day it is to how many of these we've done, and well done to everyone for hanging in there during this lockdown. And because of the lockdown, a lot of people are doing things themselves that they would normally pay a lot of money for. And today
They get it done for free, and yet they
you wouldn't guess.
complain.
You wouldn't guess, but I had my hair cut at home. Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah, finally he's saying thank you.
No, I do. I appreciate it, and I held out for a long time, but finally I managed to get my hair cut for free during the lockdown. And we want to know, what have you done that you wouldn't normally do yourself during the lockdown?
I wonder how many people have had their haircut at home during the lockdown. I mean, you probably have so many male friends watching today.
Well, probably.
I wonder if...
You hope. All guys.
It seems that I'm the
What are you
only
trying to say?
woman chatting.
Yeah,
I'm
a loser.
nothing. No, not at all.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
You've got a female here right next to you. You should feel special. You just had a haircut today, and you know.
Yeah, I do feel, and luckily the beard survived. The haircut that happened earlier today was done with the clippers, and rather stupidly we took a gamble and began a haircut with clippers that might run out of battery without the charger at the ready to recharge them. So we got as far. I'm sure it would have, you could have finished it off,
right.
but the batteries died, and we could not complete the haircut. But yeah, it looks fine. But the beard had to be done with the scissors. So Agam Pandit is saying, during the lockdown, I watched your videos on your tour to Syria, and it's a place I have always wanted to visit. Agam Pandit, I hope you get the chance. I mean, I went to Syria just as it was becoming available as an option for Western tourists, I suppose, and even then it was quite a struggle to get in. But now it's a struggle to go anywhere. And I've always gone to places that are difficult to get to, so that I'll be grateful when I get there, whether it's a long way away or it's in a place that requires a special kind of visa. I want to go to these places that are hard to get to, but now everywhere's hard to get to. So hopefully when we're all travelling again, we'll really appreciate the places we can go to. And if Syria is somewhere you want to go to, I highly recommend it. And anyone who hasn't seen the Syria playlist, do give it a look. It's on the channel. Ben Grant is saying, why do you make Saj live in the cupboard under the stairs? Well, Saj is a character on this channel that has, I think, jumped ship. I don't know that he wants to be on this channel anymore, but he does have his own channel. It's called Saj and Onion, and you're very right, we did make it in a cupboard under the stairs, because that's where we were at the time. And when you go live, you got to do it from where you are. And Agam Pandit is asking, what did you learn from your Syria trip? Wow. So much, really. And
Can you start with the 5 Arabic words?
The 5 Arabic words?
From Syria.
From Syria. Did I learn 5 Arabic words in Syria?
Did you not? You did not learn anything?
I probably did pick up. I pick up a bit of jargon everywhere I go, but I don't know if I tried a new meal called fateh, which was very tasty. That was unique to Syria. The other 4 things I'll have to get back to you. Triple T is saying, hi, is it daytime where you are? No, it's nighttime. But Dardasha, have you got any comments or questions yet?
No, we want to hear about your Syria trip. What did you learn, apart from languages?
If I talk about Syria, I'm going to go heavily political. And I'm going to say that...
Are you not married?
Take a guess.
Are you not married? The answer is, are you still married after the haircut?
Yeah, after the haircut, luckily we're still married. Oh, thank you.
You're most welcome.
Appreciate it.
I'm glad you're happy with the haircut.
Yeah.
I haven't done any haircuts before, so for it to be the first time, I'm quite proud.
I thought you said you took a haircut course. What's the word?
Hairdressing.
Hairdressing course.
Yeah, when I was in college back in the days. But luckily today I had the chance to practice.
Kushrim is saying, I look worse than you. Well, it's very, very kind of you to say. That's the kindest thing anyone's said about this haircut all day. I look worse than you. Wow. So I want to focus on the topic before we go completely off topic. What are the things that you are doing yourself that you didn't do before because of the lockdown? And Kushroom is saying, us Pakistanis grow hair fast and long. Well, congratulations to you. I don't know how long it will take me to grow back my beautiful hair. It was like an afro.
Well, people have to watch your channel, your vlog from yesterday and today to compare it.
Yeah, before and after.
Indeed. But I can share with you some things that I've done in this lockdown.
What have you done yourself that you didn't do before?
I used to start doing my yoga, but I don't really, do it every day.
Mm-hmm.
Now I do it every day. So I'm quite happy and proud of myself that even though I don't go to a gym, but I'm actually doing everything I want to do in the house.
Doing yoga yourself in front of a video.
It does. I think it does the same job as.
Yeah, I know, but as we're talking about things you do, particularly yourself, would you have been in a class before?
Yes.
Okay, so there you go, something new. I think a lot of people are getting into good fitness habits during the lockdown. But what I really want to get to grips with is how are we becoming more self-sufficient during the lockdown, as things like money are becoming useless and food might become scarce. Triple T is saying, I sit around and do nothing just to experience what jail is like, I guess. Well, get used to it, Triple T. You might be imprisoned for refusing a vaccine or something like that soon. We don't know. And let's follow the science.
But I did really think about people that are in prison, how do they feel really? And if they are there also when, let's say they haven't really committed a crime. They went there for,
who?
How do you say, Madlumin?
The people that are oppressed?
Yeah, like in jail. How do they feel to be locked for years in a room, I guess we're quite lucky with what we have so far. And in this country, I guess, in the UK, we're quite lucky because we still can go outside. We can go do our shopping anytime we want, and we can do our exercise once a day. Other countries like Saudi and Qatar, and they really are really strict with the reasons for them to go out. In Dubai, they have to write a form online and fill it of where they want to go. And the list of the needs that they want to get, and if they are necessities or not. So I guess, in a way, I don't know if we are lucky or not. Some people want more strict lockdown, so I'll leave the chat.
Well, Brain Cell is saying, guys, I was on lockdown before all this, so maybe he was in prison. I don't know. Yeah, we're certainly, when you've got a different way of life, you appreciate the way of life you had before. But what about becoming self-sufficient? I'm talking about collecting rainwater and boiling it up or filtering it so that you can drink it. I'm talking about cooking your food on a fire in the back garden, or if you don't have a back garden, the front garden. What about, instead of money, bartering with people who live on your street, obviously 2 meters away? I remember my mum telling me that in the yard, when she was a young kid, they had chickens in the yard, and the chickens would lay eggs, and every now and then you could kill a chicken and eat one. Obviously, don't kill them all because then you won't have any eggs. Asma Ahmed is saying, I try to cook different types of food as I missed cooking. well, I'm sure your food tastes absolutely supreme. Brain cells are saying I had depression, so I was at home for 4 months before this lockdown started, but now my depression is gone 2 weeks into the lockdown. Strange. That is strange, brain cells. I wonder, is it a coincidence or is it something to do with everyone being in the same boat? Maybe something changed. Someone was telling me the other day that there are fewer cases of heart attacks happening during this period of time. I don't know if that's because they're not being reported. Because
Is it stress related, do you think?
but there's fewer heart attacks. So why would we be having fewer heart attacks now
Because you
under
have
this
heart
stressful
attacks
time?
caused by other people out there. But if you look everybody,
Uh,
you have less reasons.
if you don't have to be okay, well that's one possible way of looking at it. Yeah. And
You got
go
another.
on. Yeah. Read. You can read.
What's it called? What's the name? Kushroom?
Kushroom.
Kushroom. Instead of using toothbrush and toothpaste, you can use a miswak. It's better as well.
Is it better? Well, I wonder in which way is it better. I've heard it's less harsh on the teeth. I don't know if that's true.
It's a sunnah. It's a prophetic sunnah as well. You have another comment from Al Ibbi's vlog. She said, every day I do different activities like shaving my dog's hair.
I wonder if your dog looks better than this.
Then what? What are you trying to say?
I'm sure your dog looks just fine. Triple T is saying, in most cases of domestic abuse. Okay, so yeah,
Yes,
we're
that's
still
right,
aware
Triple T.
of
Yeah.
what the lockdown means for some people. But I'm just trying to think of ways in which we can become self-sufficient, maybe learn a new skill, maybe learn to cook a meal that you never cooked before. I cooked one today, prepared it, put the rice in, half cooked it, then put it in with the meat, or was it chicken? I can't remember. And then, crazily enough, I put a smoking hot coal into the pot, put the lid on top of the pot, and just let the smoke sort of infuse to get that smoked flavour in with the rice. And it was absolutely the craziest thing I've ever done in the kitchen. But watch out for a vlog about that coming soon. What else are people saying in the chat?
G. Rogans, you guys live ? We live 2 meters away.
Yeah, we live 2 minutes apart because of the lockdown.
Yeah.
Yeah, or maybe it means are we live? Yes, we're live.
Are we live?
This is
Sorry.
live.
No,
It's Monday
I
night.
did not read it properly.
And well, it depends on the context. It could have been.
We are.
saying that.
I thought it was the same person that was asking.
What tea is this?
This is Zuhurat.
Flowers.
Yeah.
What's that? Aaron Fisher saying you don't even look that bad. I've seen people I know and I can't even recognise them. Lol, they got so much hair. Yeah. And Sergeant Onion is in the chat like you made a fence. Interesting. Someone was asking about you, Saj, earlier on. They were asking why we filmed live with Saj in a cupboard. And maybe you can answer that question. But it's good to see that Saj and Onion is alive and well. And everyone in the chat, please subscribe to Saj and Onion. He's doing crazy things out there in America. Well, I don't think he's there now because of the lockdown, but he has a lot of footage from America. And he always shoots it in landscape, which is good to know. But come on, I want people to tell me, and get on the phone if you wish, and tell me what is something that you have done yourself that you wouldn't normally do. And Locked is saying, do you use something to make tea? What is that? I can't even see what that. Do you use harmala seed to make tea, also known as Syrian rue tea? I'm going to have to ask Dardasha about that one.
I don't know about
Have you heard of
Syrian
that?
tea.
That must be a specific Syrian dish or cup.
I'm not sure. Saj eat crisps in the daytime rather than night. Okay, I think Saj is answering Triple T.
Oh, maybe. Okay.
Yeah, Triple T have probably asked Saj something, and Saj is answering him
All right.
about
Well,
the crisps.
let's go hypothetical now.
Okay.
Imagine the worst comes to the worst, and it's not just complete lockdown, it's complete chaos, anarchy, the electricity is gone, law and order is gone, fuel has run out, you've got no car, you've got no internet, you've got no electricity, you've got no supermarket. Boom. What are you going to do? What are you going to have for dinner tomorrow?
Well, you probably have to think about people that are in war zone, because they probably go through this themselves, right? One. Two, I think back in Yemen, where I come from, the electricity cuts almost every day. So they know at some point the electricity will cut, and people just have candles ready, every day.
Interesting.
And that's the time where they open the doors mainly, and they go and chat with the neighbors.
Yeah.
They, they've started to enjoy it.
Wow.
Because they know it's going to happen,
So everyone goes back to speaking to each other and lighting a candle.
Yeah, opening the doors, they chatting with the neighbors, they just enjoying that
it's not a
moment.
panic.
It's not a panic anymore because they've got used to it.
So it's actually refreshing to just switch everything off. I mean, they mentioned Syria. When I was in Syria, the electricity would cut out periodically throughout the day, but it was always kick back in. There wouldn't be a prolonged period of lack of electricity. But yeah, as soon as we turn all this Wi-Fi off and wireless, and I know, look, I don't even want to mention the number and the letter the conspiracy theorists are talking about, because it might get my video flagged. But for whatever reason, people want to do away with that. I don't think it's anything to do with COVID-19 or the coronavirus. It's got nothing to do with that. But it would be interesting to see how life would be like, how our brains would function without any wireless, without any Wi-Fi, without anything. And when I've been in rural parts of the world, it's actually felt quite refreshing to be away from that, and to look at your phone and have zero signal. It's quite a good thing, because you're not getting the brainwaves interfered with by all this madness going on. And in the chat, Hassan Radwan is saying, my heart breaks for Yemen. 2 of my children are half Yemeni. What did you say? So I feel they're suffering intensely. Yeah, absolutely, yes. Absolutely.
I mean, I have family back home, Hassan Radwan, and some of them just got used to the lifestyle, and they just live day by day, They just live what they have, and with the circumstances that they go by. They don't know whether, tomorrow will be another day, or they'll manage, they'll keep, they will still be there or not. And I do pray for them, and they are definitely people that lived through a lot, and they are still surviving. And yet we complain about every little things here, even though we've got everything we need, really.
Go on, you can read
Delta Down says earlier, if it's locked down for 10 years, people will ditch the system and go back to normal life.
Yeah, well, what is normal life? Maybe the way we live now is very strange, and we're so used to it. And if you were born in a lunatic asylum, you would probably call that normal. Hassan Radwan saying, we are living in luxury despite the lockdown. Think about all those in war zones and who have no water to drink, let alone wash.
To happy birthday.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah, like
indeed.
to wash to happy birthday. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, indeed.
That's how long you're meant to wash your hands for. Yeah, I know, it's crazy. And look, I'm never going to undermine the suffering of people in war zones, but do those people that have had to go back to the way it was before, that have the periods without electricity, do they have something that we don't have? Do they have that self-sufficiency because they can survive in a situation like that? If you drop me in a war zone, I'm going to cry and run away. I'm not going to know what to do because I've not been in that scenario for any extended period of time. Do these people know how to milk a cow or a goat, how to slaughter a sheep, how to, what do you do with a chicken? I don't know, take the feathers off. Do they have that? Is that an advantage? To be close to nature, to be able to extract water from a river or a spring if you need to. Should we be getting in the frame of mind to be able to survive in nature? And I don't mean panic buying and buying hundreds of rolls of toilet roll, but the people that were thinking like that should be thinking, well, can I survive in the woods?
Well, technically, you're not gonna put yourself in a war zone or in the woods, or like you would want to be somewhere where you feel safe, you and your family. But those people have no chance. And if you somewhere and you like some people are locked down as well in countries now and stuck, they're not even back home, right? So I guess it can happen at some situation where you are stuck somewhere and you just learn to adapt with the situation. Asma Ahmed wrote here in the chat, they have trust on Allah. That's back home in Yemen.
Mm-hmm.
And Ibbi Vlog wrote, في زمن الكورونا ممنوع الجيران. So they're not even allowed to see the neighbors in Corona days, sadly. And Hassan Radwan commented here, strangely enough, my mother always told us people were happier during World War II. It seems strange, but harsh time can bring people together and make simple things seems sweeter.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. I mean, we've seen a lot of people calling each other on Zooms and different apps, and they are connecting somehow to one another, even though the distance and the lockdown hasn't really stopped people from being connected, right?
Yeah, I think people still talk about the wartime spirit and how London was, and how people went for the air raid shelter, and it's a bit of a cliche, but if you watch Only Fools and Horses, Uncle Albert always says during the war, because he remembers it as this sort of great era, and there were so many amazing songs written for people to lift their spirits, and you get this sense, and I think the people who actually fought in the war probably never wanted to think about it again, but the other people that were around at that time have a sort of a nostalgia for it, and we even have programs like Hello Hello and Dad's Army, great comedies set around the war that you would think was such a tragic time, but people have sort of a fond memory for it. And I think comedy and sense of humour will get you through hard times, will get you through a stint in prison, or our friend earlier on was saying that he was suffering from depression. I hope that maybe your sense of humour might get you through it if you can learn to laugh at a situation. I'm not an expert on mental health, could be saying exactly the wrong thing here, but I do think that a sense of humour is part of what makes us human and gets us through those tough times. And even during the toughest of time, you might just start cracking up about the simplest of things. Like when we talk about hysterics, being in hysterics, hysteria, there's a fine line between laughing and crying. And some people actually laugh so hard that they cry. And it's like, are they tears of joy? Are they tears of sadness? There is a fine line on that extreme of emotion. And sometimes emotion is just the label that we attribute to a certain physiological reaction. Like two people on the same roller coaster are experiencing the same physical experience, trauma, whatever it is, but one might be really enjoying it and the other is crying. Yeah, guess which one's which? Let me know.
Crying one.
But it's that the label that you attribute to something, and as with the coronavirus, when religious folk talk about God, you can say God is punishing you or God is testing you. It's the same thing, but I think it's much healthier label to say I'm being tested. Let's see how I'm going to react to this. Let's see, am I going to panic or am I going to do the right thing and be responsible? Am I going to look after my family? Am I going to look after my neighbour by staying 2 meters away from him? And we've seen people with social distancing. And on my 1 hour exercise today with my family members, we saw some people. What age group were they that weren't social distancing?
Teenagers.
Yeah, teenagers at it again. We saw some teenagers that, that were obviously not social distancing.
Well, they were smoking weed, so I guess.
Oh well, I don't know what weed smells like, so I didn't know. But apparently, Dardasha recognised the smell as being marijuana cigarettes, and you could say maybe they didn't care because they thought, well, we're young people and we're not at risk. But the reason why you have to social distance is to protect your neighbour, your brother, your neighbour,
exactly.
your 90-year-old neighbour.
Like this COVID-19 is not about yourself, and it shows you at this time, if you are selfish enough to just think about yourself, you want to meet your friends, even though, you just feel like nothing is going to happen to you. And even with that, there are cases where they said young people have had corona and they couldn't make it. But let's not go into corona much and COVID-19. We've got Agam here commented, I was in Lebanon in 2016 and had the best time of my life. Did you feel that in Syria? It was similar culture to Lebanon, he's asking you. Was it?
Well, I've had the time of my life in Syria. And why did they bring up politics? I'm going to go off on politics for 20 minutes.
But is it
Had it not been
culture?
for the Sykes-Picot agreement, Lebanon would have been part of Syria. And the whole of Balad al-Sham is one end, blah, blah, blah. Lebanon and Syria are part of the same region, same culture, same cultures. There are many cultures in Lebanon. I think there are 17 or 18 different ethno-linguistic, national/religious identities. Same in Syria, and a lot of them cross over. You'll find both or you'll find them all in both similar cultures, and it was carved up by the French and the British. And Agam is adding, I found that in Lebanon, people were so happy despite 2 hours away of fighting in Syria. The spirit, culture and nightlife keeps on going. And I found that amazing. Beirut, they were so happy. Yeah, absolutely. It is a stark contrast at the moment. But a few years back, it would have been completely the other way around. When Beirut was on fire, people used to hear the name Beirut and say, oh, I wouldn't want to go there. They think of it as a place that got destroyed, and it did several times in the 80s and in 2006.
Yeah.
But
Beirut, I visited Beirut. I haven't had the chance to visit Syria yet. It was beautiful, but I have to say it's very expensive for the people that lives there. So I do really feel for the middle class people or working class people in Beirut, because for us people coming from the UK, there it's okay, you can spend a holiday there, it's manageable, but for the people that lives there, the prices are quite expensive to live. So I wonder how people survive with the lifestyle in there, to be honest. And I wonder if Hassan and Radwan have noticed anything different about Julian today. Talking about DIY. Let me know in the chat if you are proud of what I have done today, because I've done something new. I have done a haircut, and Julian didn't seem quite happy in the beginning.
The course you did didn't go to waste.
Yes, nice haircut. Thank you, Hassan Radwan.
That's lovely. He's such a polite guy.
I did vlog it. We did the
evidence
vlog.
will be on Dardasha. People are wanting the before and after pictures.
You were getting your hair brushed and cut at the same
I'm a lucky guy.
at the same time. Special treatment. But
Yeah.
what else have we been up
Yeah.
to?
What else have you done yourself that you would normally ordinarily rely on someone else, or you would pay for it? DIY.
I mean, I make my own paintings, sort of. Like I
You
studied
see, you're
patterns,
quite an
but
independent person anyway. You're quite self-sufficient.
if that counts. Naiman.
Oh,
Naiman
thank you,
Jirin from
Yanamali.
Hassan Ramadan.
Thank you. Yeah, you're the sort of person that cooks with raw ingredients rather than buying ready meals. Maybe this is something else that people can get into. I think Jamie Oliver said, "Food shouldn't contain ingredients. Food is ingredients." You
Yes.
shouldn't be eating processed stuff that someone else has chopped up and frozen and added salt to and whisked it halfway around the world and put it in a shop in a plastic bag in a under tin foil or whatever it is. You should be getting it from as close to the source as you can, raw materials. So maybe we will have this back to earth
Yes.
sort of mentality. And very unfortunately, people have had to source their own protective equipment in terms of doctors and nurses. And some people have had the equipment and others haven't. Ross Kemp was criticised for filming a documentary in an NHS hospital, and of course he had the breathing equipment on, or the face mask. But should he really have that when other people don't have it? It's almost like we're all going to have to do our own thing, and without going political too much. But the fact that Brexit happened and Britain was going to be this standalone country, which in many ways could have been a good thing, is it a good thing in a crisis like this when you suddenly, at the drop of a hat, need all this protective equipment that you don't have enough of already? And some people say a good thing about China and their economy is that they can order those protective equipment items to be made. If you're a completely free market capitalist economy, you only make things if there's money to be made. And when there is money to be made and a shortage, all of a sudden people can start charging whatever they want for something. That's why shopkeepers have been charging £20 for hand sanitizer or
Yes.
whatever it is. But do you blame the shopkeeper? Do you blame the uh, the system? And we were discussing this the other day
Yeah.
with Rakim, and he was obviously criticising the shopkeeper that inflates his prices
Yeah.
to take advantage of the moment of trial that we're under. But if you, as a consumer, purchase a hand sanitizer for £20 because you can, are you then reinforcing the price? Because the shopkeeper will say, well, I sold it for £20, someone bought it, I'm going to carry on. Should we all boycott the inflated prices? But then again, what if you really need it?
But the thing is, there were some shops that done that, at the beginning, and when were the things running away from certain places, some places did put their prices up, and people just decided to stop buying from them. To what's the word?
Boycott.
Boycott.
Yeah.
And I think it works, and then they reduce their prices. So I don't think you should abuse the system.
But why would a shop put its price up if it didn't think someone would pay it?
Well, obviously someone would, because if you have the money, sometimes you wouldn't care about other people, would you? Like some people have the money, they don't care whether they spend a tenner or 100. For them, it's the same. But the majority would have a say about it. But this really shows you the strength of the community. And when we are together in one thing, we can actually beat it. We can fight it. We can all agree in one thing. We can beat the system if we are a stronger community. And I think that's why most of communities are being targeted in a way and not encouraged nowadays, because they have much stronger effects on the society.
Do you think we are united? Do you think these silly face group books showing people overcharging people, or is really a case that we're united? Is that helping? There's something I don't like about these Facebook groups saying, "Oh, look at this terrible disgrace shop." It's a bit reactionary. It's a bit one step away from a mob. And Hassan Radwan is saying it's short-sighted to take advantage by inflating prices. People will remember. Yes, I hope I hope they will remember. In fact, that's one of the Facebook groups, I think, is called "We the People Will Remember." But I couldn't help but notice it was tainted with some racial undertones. A little bit of the old EDL. Look at this Asian shopkeeper ripping off us white people. That wasn't explicit. That's me prejudging and being prejudiced, which you shouldn't. But I sensed there was a little hint of it there. And Triple T is saying shopkeeper can sell it for whatever price he likes. If you don't like it, don't buy it, Buster. Exactly. Don't blame me if your shop gets smashed up by some angry racists. And PK3776 saying, I'm loving the lockdown. Time to learn to play the bass guitar. Why the bass guitar? That's the coolest instrument in the band, isn't it? Because you just sort of stand at the back and you don't really have to do much, and you just sort of look cool.
Oh, you've missed a question. Is that your wife? So it's not your wife?
No, I was ignoring that question.
Okay.
Silly question. Hassan Radwan saying, yes, sadly, one reaction is a lot of racial tension and some crazy conspiracy theories. Well, we know all about the crazy conspiracy theories on this show because we came up with most of them, but I don't believe in all of them. And PK3776 is adding that the world doesn't have enough PPE. Yeah, sadly. Look, it's always going to be divide and conquer, and people are going to resort to in-groups and out-groups, and they're going to remember what colour they are and what religion they are. When there's enough for everyone, we seem to all get along fine. Often, if you compare Germany with some other countries, Germany is about 50-50 Catholic and Protestant, but they've never really had a problem with each other.
Yes.
Because everyone's got enough.
I do like the diversity in the United Kingdom, in London specifically. I mean, I love London because of how, all of us from different race, different backgrounds come together, and everybody is used to see different cultures, and I don't know. I just love to see that mix and different heritage. All of us getting to know one another, and
Is that been your experience of London? That it has been a well integrated, multi-ethnic, multicultural city?
If we talk of the positive side, then yes, this has been my experience. I don't think I have visited somewhere else other than London that had this rich diversity.
Wow.
I don't know. You can tell me your thoughts.
Here's a good one from PK3776. It's cheaper to buy vodka and use that as hand sanitizer as it's got more alcohol. Wow. Don't tell that to the alcoholics. They might be drinking the hand sanitizer. But I'm going to have a drink. You carry on. I'm going to just pour some tea.
Well, going back to our topic today, give us some you can call us on the phone if anybody wants to share their
what have you done that you never done before?
Any new experiences
that you're doing, but
that
specifically that you're doing it yourself. And Pleb Enforcement is in the chat. Evening all, welcome Pleb Enforcement. What are you doing that you've never done before? Hassan Radwan is saying a 60s protest singer called Phil Ox wrote a song called Love Me, I'm a Liberal. It was an ironic criticism of how liberals are caring to everyone as long as it doesn't affect them. Yeah. And Dean, Deanne Kingson, I kindly ask if all can sign and share the petition in order to reach our goal. It's very crucial as Yemen is on the brink of collapsing. Yeah, we mentioned Yemen earlier on. I'm not
Yes.
sure what that petition is about, but Yemen is certainly in need.
I mean, I don't know. They have said that they they have the first case of corona, and if they do have any more, they don't even know how are they going to manage because of the shortage of hospitals and the equipments. Obviously, they're not equipped at all. And in fact, it is well in a what to say famity. How to say فقر.
I don't know, calamity.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. So I pray for the people of Yemen. I really pray for them, and I do what I can to support as much as I can, and hopefully we can. We always can at some point.
Yeah, it's always going to be harder for people in these parts of the world. Pleb Enforcement is saying, I'm honing my culinary skills during lockdown. Made a pad thai tonight, 7 out of 10. Very, very, very modest of you, Pleb. I'm sure it was 10 out of 10.
That's me, Sarah. Alia. Hello, Alia, in the chat. Alia is, when I call her Alia in Arabic,
Okay.
a neighbor of us, and I'm very happy to see you here in the chat with us. And a few days ago, I had the chance to see Alia on the road, and it was so
Oh, wow.
beautiful that you can see your neighbors and talk to them even if it's 2 meters away. You
2
know,
meters away, I hope. Yeah.
we kept the 2 meters away, and we had a nice chat. And if you can do that with your neighbors,
Yeah, no, it's
why
strange
not?
when you see someone you haven't seen for a long time. You're like, hi, hello. Stay there. I do hope this works. I hope we've done the right thing. I know some countries are doing much better than others. It seems New Zealand have done very well.
We have Khalid Hudair, I think.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I'm Yemeni and thank Allah. Some sources documented that Yemen is empty of coronavirus. If it is not one or just 2 cases, don't worry, guys. I mean, hopefully, we are praying that they don't have any more than what they already have. And we pray that, inshallah, Allah, helps the people of Yemen in all sorts, really, whether it was the poverty or the war or illnesses and other, everything else, hopefully.
I just hope when this all goes back to normal and we all go back to our wonderful normal lives that we remember people that are suffering and we remember how we were put a little bit in their position.
We've got a comment here.
Are you guys, housemates, driving each other crazy yet? Well, we've resorted to cutting each other's hair. I don't know what the next step is after that.
To be honest, it was the first time I see Julian's face, going a bit upset and stressed, and it's the first time I see these facial expression, and I'm glad I vlogged it all. It's out on my channel today, and yeah, so but the fact that he trusted me to do so, yeah, thank you. We haven't,
Trust and risk, faith. That's called. And Annabelle Rastrill is in the chat. What's going on, family? Lovely to see you. I bet he's been trying new things.
You didn't let her cut my show.
Yeah, it was, yeah. Well, the batteries ran out, unfortunately, and we can't charge it.
We didn't have the charger, so that's the best we managed to get.
That's right.
The rest was done by a scissor and a comb. So well done to me.
You know, when you go to the barbers, they often have that old-fashioned equipment in on display as kind of like a historic item, and you can see how the clippers used to be sort of manipulated like that, but they still had the same clipping action. So yeah, cutting your own hair. Think about it. If you always cut your own hair or trust someone else to do it, you're going to save a lot of money over the years.
Did you save money after the lockdown, Julian? At some point?
Well, I must have. I must have saved money. Well, one haircut. That's one.
What
And
else? What else were you spending
and
your money on? Things that are not essential.
that's a good question. Petrol. I must have spent far much less on petrol. What else of that?
What about food?
Food? Well,
Did you used to spend much on restaurants and going
yeah,
out, cafes?
exactly. No more whining and dining. Oh man, it's so it's unlucky, but
But can you see how much money you've saved since
yeah,
you started eating in the house?
because I'd booked a 5-star restaurant, for us to go together every day
Really?
for the whole Easter break.
Oh yeah.
14 days in a row, different 5-star restaurants. It was all ready to go.
That's not true. The true part is that I have booked a ticket and we meant to travel. It didn't happen and I lost my money. So, Hassan Adwan saying, "What am I doing in the lockdown? Watching you guys at 10
Yes,
p.m." Thank you so much.
we've been regular
that means
enough that people know the time. Yeah, at 10 p.m. or so, roughly, give or take. Pleb Enforcement says, "I've been cutting my own actually. Ended up better than my usual Kurdish haircut."
Well, you said you spent even more than that in your haircut.
Yeah, very often. Yeah, it can be. But Kurdish people are generally good at cutting hair. Is it true that people from the hairier the country, I'm stereotyping again, the hairier the ethnic group, the better they are at cutting hair? Because they're more
They're more experienced.
Yeah, more experienced.
Well, I was quite surprised that you've got a lot of hair as well. Like today, when I was cutting your hair is so thick. You must have some Asian roots or something.
Well, it could be African. I don't know. We're all one. We're
Dean's
all
Kingston
mixed.
said, "Ask for a ticket refund." I am on the hunt to get a refund for my ticket. Hopefully, at some point.
Yeah, hopefully.
But we've done quite a lot, I have to say, since we've been in the house. We did read books. We are watching documentaries. We're trying to make the most of our time to learn in a way.
I need to do more reading. I do need to do more reading. That is for sure.
Next book that I am about to buy is Buddhism and Islam.
Okay.
So,
and you couldn't find? Was it sold out?
no, it was not sold out. I was just not sure about the name of the book, but I finally found it. And it's called, let me just see the name. It's called Common Ground Between Islam and Buddhism.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my next book to read, hopefully, in this lockdown. As many people have been discussing Buddhism, so as we have spoke about it before, and it has so many similarities as well to Islam in terms of meditating
and certain strains of Islam.
Yeah.
More so, and there's many strains of Buddhism.
I mean, I just have some interest, so I wanted to know more about it. Isra Al-Hamal said, "Have you guys seen Money Heist? It's amazing. Kills so many hours. Not yet. I have not. I will definitely check it out." Isra.
We started watching. What was the one we started watching?
Is it Finding God or
God, that as well. No, the drama about the Messiah. Yeah, was it called Messiah?
Messiah.
Yeah, Messiah. Yeah, we started watching Messiah because everyone was raving about it, but the fuss has sort of died down now. You don't really hear much.
No, I don't think it was for me as well. Like, I don't feel like I want to watch the whole thing either. Pleb Enforcement says, "I have eaten 4 Snickers today." Make sure you do your own exercise a day.
He's getting sponsored. Well done.
We have had quite a few sugar today, as we have had a dessert that I made at home for the first time, and we had the eggs, chocolate eggs to eat today. So yeah, but we did do our exercise a day as well. I haven't seen Tiger King. I've heard about it, but I haven't watched it either. I'm not someone who watches TV much, so this is quite new to me that I'm watching documentaries. I don't know how much I will spend on watching, but I don't even have a TV in my house, so
it's just outside in the garden. What is your friend's most unconventional belief? My friend, your friend, or what's your most unconventional belief?
Explain a little bit the question to me. What do you mean by
Well,
unconventional?
what's a unusual belief that you have that's
Unusual
not
belief.
what most people think?
Well, I have so many friends that have different beliefs. I have friends that says they are Sufis, but they're not Muslim, so they just like
That
the
one
Sufi.
is very interesting. I've never understood that, but there
Yeah,
are people that say, yeah,
they
I
just like
follow
the Sufis mystics, but
Sufism.
not the religion of Islam.
Mm,
I have friends who are Christian, atheist, Hindus, everything really. I have friends from everywhere, different cultures, different religion.
mm.
So yeah,
So PK3776 is saying now
yeah.
doing workouts collectively using video conferencing app. It's a bit odd, but still fun. Yeah, I've been doing that with the same guys that I would have trained with before,
Mm.
and it's different. But I need motivation for training. I used to do a lot of training on my own, but over the years, I could no longer push myself to do it. Lacking motivation. You can't put a price on motivation. So
Yes,
anyone who wants to invest in a personal trainer, go for it, even if they just shout at you like a drill
yeah.
sergeant.
I think also the friends around you really have influence on
Mm.
what you do in life. So if you are surrounded by negative people, I'd say switch your life.
Yeah,
This is the time to rethink. You know, you need that positivity.
yeah,
Isra saying, by the way, great haircut. Thank you, Isra. I hope Julian will keep the
yeah.
haircut for
Yeah,
some time.
thanks
But you were
for.
saying that he will shave it all
I
off.
was thinking
But
about just going on the Hajj, but it's not going to happen.
Julian, question by Plip.
Plymouth
What
Enforcement
do you
Julian, what do you believe that most people don't? Well, I I am a fan of David Icke. I don't agree with most of the conspiracy theorists that the number and the letter have anything to do with COVID-19. I don't believe in that conspiracy. So, as a fellow conspiracy theorist, I'm one of the few that doesn't believe in the number and the letter causing COVID-19. But as you can see, I am paranoid about YouTube and algorithms and getting my video taken down. So I believe in a lot of wacky theories, but not all of the theories. What else? What do I believe that most people don't? Um,
Do you believe that the Earth is flat?
no, I don't. No, I don't. This is the thing. When you hang out in strange places like Speaker's Corner, having a middle of the road average opinion on something makes you a weirdo over there. And I did hear from Pavlov tonight, actually, and Pavlov is looking to set up some kind of online Speaker's Corner. What do they call that online? Zoom. Yeah,
Okay.
there might be a Zoom Speaker's Corner.
Oh,
God forbid. I know Hassan Radwan has just vomited in his mouth at the prospect of an online Speaker's Corner. I thought we
no.
tried to get away from that place, but Pavlov reached out to me, so I would be interested in chatting to him. And Hassan Radwan is saying, I saw David Icke live many years ago. No, you didn't, Hassan Radwan. It was a hologram. It was all fake. That's interesting. Where did you see him, Hassan? And what was he talking about? The lizards. People are so dismissive of David Icke, and I've dismissed his latest conspiracy theory, but he's spoken many, many truths as well. And I think he's a nice guy, and that goes a long way in my book. You saw him in London. Wow.
Interesting.
And PK3776 is saying the algorithm is the YouTube demon. And as we know, the algorithm, al-Khwarizmi,
Algorithm.
is an Arabic word.
I mean,
Go on,
just to
Dadasha.
end the chat,
Yeah.
royal family lizard people, Hassan had one saying, and he's not a fan.
I know, I didn't think you would be a fan of David Icke.
But I read one book of his many years ago and loved it. I mean, I haven't really discovered the books of David Icke yet, but maybe we will share some books now that we are in lockdown. If you have more days to read also, why not? We are getting to the end of our 1 hour
Yeah.
live.
Of the first hour that I jokingly call it. Don't worry, we're wrapping it up.
Thank you very much for those who are watching. Thank you very much for all the ideas, for the support,
Yeah,
for
it's been.
liking the new hairstyle.
Yeah, thanks very much. Yeah, thank you. If you've got any other ideas or things we should talk about, as ever, please let us know. Anything goes. David Icke. Oh, yeah, we read that. Hassan Radwan read one of his books. Yeah, we'll do a whole show on David Icke one night, but I'm paranoid.
I'll be in it.
I'm paranoid. Pleb Enforcement saying David Icke is suspiciously shiny. Is he really? I've never noticed that about him. Peace and love to you, Hassan Radwan. Thank you so much.
The last Naima
Yanam Alaik, who's that too?
Samia.
Yanam Alaiki. It's a woman. That's why Arabic is such a hard language. I'll never be
You just need to
fluent.
start reading the letters. You can learn how to read and write after the lockdown.
This has been Lessons of Life.
Thank you for watching.
We'll do it all again soon. We were here. We're gone. Latest.